Hello and welcome again to the Word of Truth channel. It's a pleasure to come to you again with an interesting discussion, Bible discussion. Today I'm coming to you again with an interesting topic. It's titled, "Are you paying attention to what is written, or are you allowing your preacher man to mislead you?" Yes, are you paying attention to what is written in the book, or are you allowing your ears to be tickled by the false prophets and false teachers? We all need to pay attention to the things written in the books to avoid being misled or being led to the slaughter. The Messiah warned us concerning this in the book of Matthew chapter 24, verse 4. He said, "Do not be misled." In the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 4, the Messiah warned all Israel not to allow yourself to be misled. Don't allow yourself to be led to the slaughter. So do not be misled. Follow along as I read the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 4 and 5. Is written, "In answer, Yahuwah said to them, look out that no one misleads you, for many will come on the basis of my name, saying, I am the Christ, and will mislead many." Yes, all Israel need to look out, because in order not to be misled, for many will come in the name of God, in the name using a false Messiah or a false Christ, and they will mislead many Israelites. He already said it, that they will mislead many. So are you paying attention to what is written, or are you allowing your preacher man to mislead you? In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 64, follow along as I read that. Chapter 28, verse 64. Pay attention to what is written. It's written, "Yahuwah will scatter you among the nations, from one end of the earth to the other ends of the earth, and there you will have to serve gods of wood and gods of stone, which you and your forefathers have not known." So pay attention to what is written. God will scatter his people among the nations to the corners of the earth, and among these nations they will be misled into serving the gods of wood and gods of stone, which you and your forefathers have not known. So are you paying attention to what is written, or are you allowing your preacher man to mislead you into serving the false gods of the nations? In the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 24, follow along as I read that. Luke chapter 21, verse 24. There is written, "And they will fall by the edge of the sword, and be led captive into all the nations, and Jerusalem will be trampled on by the nations until the appointed times of the nations are fulfilled. So the Messiah himself foretold that the people of Israel will be led captives as slaves among the nations. Just like Yahuwah foretold that he would scatter Israel among the nations, the people of Israel were led captives among the nations where Yahuwah will scatter Israel. And there many of us will be misled to serve into serving the gods of the other nations, gods of wood and god of stone. So this took place in AD 70 when the Romans came and captured Jerusalem, and the people of Israel were scattered among the nations to bear punishment for the errors of our ancestors until it ends. And until it ends, Jerusalem and its surrounding cities will be trampled on by the peoples of the nations, the people that are not the original inhabitants or the people that God gave the promised land to inherit. Are you paying attention to what is written, or are you allowing your preacher man to mislead you? Again, the Messiah said, do not be misled. He warned us in advance not to be misled by the people that will come in the basis of his name and in saying that they represent God. So do not be misled. Again, follow along as I read the book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3 to 5. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3 to 5. There it is written, say, let no one lead you astray in any way, because it will not come unless the apostasy comes first, and the man of lawlessness gets revealed, the son of destruction. He stands in opposition and exalts himself above every so-called God, an object of worship, so that he sits in the temple of God, publicly showing himself to be God, to be a God. So do you not remember that when I was still with you, I used to tell you all these things? Again, the Apostle Paul also wrote this. He said, let no one lead you astray, because he was foretold that the people, the chosen people of Israel, will be misled, will be led astray into apostasy to go and serve the gods of other nations. This man of lawlessness will come and will lead people of Israel away, astray, and they will go and serve the gods of other nations. Are you paying attention to what is written? Or are you allowing your preacher man to keep misleading you into serving the gods of, into keep on serving the gods of other nations? And this man of lawlessness has exalted himself in places of worship, in all places of worship, and has exalted himself to be a god. Ask yourself, who are the ones in charge of all the places of worship? It's not the Israelites, but the people that of the nations that the man of lawlessness has brought into the places of worship. Are you paying attention to what is written? We must pay attention to what is written in the books of records. Yes, we must pay attention to what is written in the Bible. That will serve as our guide to help us to find our way back to our God. In the book of Psalms, Psalm 119, verse 105, your word is a lamp to my foot and a light to my path. Pay attention to what is written. God's word will be a lamp to your feet. It helps you to know where you are standing in the stream of time. And as a light to your roadway or your path, it will help you to see how far more we need to go to arrive to our destination. Are you paying attention to what is written? Or are you allowing your preacher man to mislead you? So pay attention to what is written. In the book of Genesis, chapter 15, follow along as I read verse 13. Genesis chapter 15, verse 13 to 16. There it is written, and he said to Abraham, know for certain that your offspring will be foreigners in a land not theirs, and that the people there will enslave them and afflict them for 400 years. But I will judge the nation they will serve, and after that they will come out with many goods. As for you, you will go to your forefathers in peace. You will be buried in a good old age. But they will return here in the fourth generation, because the error of the Amorites has not yet reached its full measure. Are you paying attention to what is written? Abraham was told that his descendants will be led enslaved by many nations. They will be led captive to a land that is not theirs, where they will be mistreated and enslaved. But during the time of the fourth regeneration of the people of Israel in the promised land is when they will return to the land and inherit the land forever. Israel's fourth regeneration has not taken place yet, but it is coming at an appointed time. So pay attention to what is written. If you are paying attention to what is written, then you will be seeking to return home for the fourth regeneration of the people of Israel in the promised land. You will not allow yourself to be misled by your preacher man that we are all going to heaven when you die, or that you will be raptured and go to heaven, or you die and go to heaven. Are you allowing your preacher man to mislead you, or are you paying attention to what is written? In the fourth regeneration of the people of Abraham's descendants in the promised land is when they will return and inherit the land forever. So pay attention to what is written. Follow along as I read the book of Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 65. Isaiah chapter 65, verse 8 to 10. And there it is written, "This is what Yahuwah says. Just as when a new wine is found in a cluster of grapes, and someone says, 'Do not destroy it, for there is something good in it,' says, so I will do for the sake of my servants. I will not destroy them all. I will bring out of Jacob an offspring, and out of Judah the one to inherit my mountains. My chosen ones will take possession of it, and my servants will reside there. Sharon will become a pasture for sheep, and the valley of Anchor a resting place for cattle, for my people who searched for me." So, are you paying attention to what is written? God said that he will not destroy all the people of Israel because of their breaking the covenant, because of their leaving him to go and serve the gods of other nations. So he will not destroy all of them, but he will take out of Jacob and out of Judah the ones that will possess his holy mountain. Are you paying attention to what is written? Though Israel is scattered among the nations to bear punishment among the nations, to bear humiliation because of the errors of our ancestors, but God said he will not destroy all of us, but he will take out of Israel the ones that will return to inherit his holy mountain in the fourth regeneration of Israel in the land. So Sharon will become a pasture for sheep, and the valley of Anchor a resting place for cattle, for his people who search for him. Are you paying attention to what is written, or are you allowing your preacher man to mislead you to the slaughter? If you are paying attention to what is written, then you will be seeking to be among the ones that will search for your God in order to return, to be among the ones that will be chosen to return back to his holy mountain to serve him, to render sacred service to him. Are you paying attention to what is written? Do not allow your preacher man to mislead you. Are you searching for your God through the things written concerning you, the people of Israel? Or are you allowing your preacher man to mislead you with the teachings of your religious organization? When we search for our God through the things written, then is when we will have light of truth. Follow along as I read what is written in the book of Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 8, verse 20. There it is written, "Instead they should inquire of the law and the written confirmation. When they do not speak according to this word, they have no light." Are you paying attention to what is written? It is written that we should do what? Inquire of the law and the commandments, written confirmation, which is the law of our God, which is written in the books of record. When we do not seek for him according to his word, So we have no light. We have no light of truth when we do not seek for our God according to what is written in the books. So we should seek for what is written in the book instead of allowing the preacher man to tickle our ears and mislead us into thinking that everything is well. But they are leading many to the slaughter, to their destruction. So pay attention to what is written. Follow along as I continue with this discussion. Are you paying attention to what is written? Let's look at what is written in the book of Isaiah chapter 10. Isaiah chapter 10, verse 21 to 23. Isaiah chapter 10. There it is written, only a remnant will return, the remnant of Jacob, to the mighty God. For though your people, O Israel, are as the grains of the sand of the sea, only a remnant of them will return. An extermination has been decided on, and justice will engulf them. So yes, the extermination decided on by the sovereign Lord Yahuwah of armies will be carried out in the entire land. Are you paying attention to what is written? God said only a few remnant will find a way to return to their God. Only a few will seek to return to Him. Even though the people of Israel multiply as the sand of the sea, only a few will return back to Him. The rest of the people will be what? Exterminated. They will be led to the slaughter because they keep listening to their preacher man, the one leading them to their destruction, because they keep listening to the false teachings of the religious organizations. Are you paying attention to what is written? If you are paying attention, you will be seeking to be among the few that will return back to the living God, back to the mighty God. If you are paying attention, you will be examining and paying attention to what is written so that you can avoid calamity that is coming. For the rest of the people of Israel scattered among the nations, extermination has been decided on. God said He will put all to death because of their sin of leaving Him to go and serve the gods of other nations. Will you pay attention to what is written and return back to your God, to serving your God? Follow along as I read the book of Matthew chapter 6, verse 33. There it is written, the Messiah instructed us. It says, keep on then seeking first the kingdom and His righteousness, and all these other things will be added to you. Yes, if you are paying attention to what is written in the books, you will be seeking how to return back to the kingdom of God, from where you were scattered, from where you originated. If you are paying attention to what is written, you will be seeking first the kingdom on how to get back to the kingdom, how to return back to your God, to serve Him in the land that He gave to your ancestors to possess. The fourth regeneration of the people of Israel is coming soon. Will you seek to return back to the kingdom, or will you continue to follow the people of the nations to your destruction? Pay attention to what is written. Follow along as I read the book of Zephaniah. The book of Zephaniah, chapter 3, verse 8 and 10. And there it is written, Yahuwah, the God of Israel, spoke through the prophets. He said, so keep in expectation of me, declares Yahuwah, until the day when I rise up to take plunder. For my judiciary decision is to gather nations, to assemble kingdoms, to pour out on them my indignation, all my burning anger. For by the fire of my zeal, the whole earth will be consumed. Verse 10, from the region of the rivers of Ethiopia, those entreating me, the daughters of my scattered ones, will bring a gift to me. Are you paying attention to what is written? God said, the day is coming, and he will gather the nations and the kingdoms of the earth, and he will pour out his anger on them, his indignation, and by this fire of his zeal, the whole earth will be consumed. Are you paying attention to what is written? But regarding his people who are scattered beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, these ones he said he's going to bring back to the promised land that he promised to their ancestors to possess forever. From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia is Africa. It shows you who the chosen people of God is. The people that he has chosen to dwell in the land that he promised to their ancestors. Are you paying attention to what is written? Are you seeing who the true people of Israel are? From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, his people that were scattered, he said he's going to bring them back to the promised land. And there we do what? Bring their gift to him. Pay attention to what is written and stop being misled by your preacher man. Again, follow along as I read the book of Zephaniah, chapter 3, verse 12. He said, I will allow a humble and lowly people to remain in your midst, and they will take refuge in the name of Yahuwah. So Yahuwah said he will gather back his people, but he will only gather the humble ones, the ones who have repented of their sins, the errors of their ancestors, the ones who have turned around to worship and seek for him, to serve him alone, and not the gods of other nations. This humble one, this repentant one, Yahuwah said he will bring back to the land of Israel, the promised land, the kingdom of God. Are you paying attention to what is written? Or are you allowing your ears to be tickled by the preacher man? Now concerning the other peoples of the nations who are not Israelites? Are you paying attention to what is written, or are you also allowing your preacher man, your pastor, your clergy to mislead you, to teach you wrong? Pay attention to what is written. Follow along as I read, or at your own time, read the book of Psalms chapter 2, verse 1 to 12, and you will see what Yahuwah, the God of Israel, told the people of the nations and their kings. Our God said that he has installed his Son, our King, in his only holy Mount Zion, and he will rule over his chosen people, and he will rule over all things, over the earth. And all the nations and the peoples of the earth will submit to him. Are you paying attention to what is written, or are you being stubborn and being rebellious? Like many kings of the earth, like many who are saying, oh, these niggers will not rule over me. Pay attention to what is written, because the decision of our God is that he has installed his king on Zion, and every other people and nation will submit to his rulership. God is stretching out his hand to you, the people of the nations, and he's telling you, kiss the Son, or he will become angry, and all of you will perish in the way. Kiss the Son, and you can save, and you will keep living. But if you continue to be stubborn, God said he will take action, and you will perish in the way. Are you paying attention to what is written? Are you allowing your preacher man to fill your ears with lies? Yes, are you allowing your preacher man to fill your ear with lies? Lies that we all die, you die, and you go to heaven. Lies of a false kingdom. Pay attention to what is written. Do not allow your preacher man to mislead you. Follow along as I read what is written in the book of Isaiah chapter 8, verse 10. God is telling you the invaders, the people from the nations that invaded his land. He said, it's written, devise a plan, but it will be thwarted. Say what you like, but it will not succeed, for God is with us. So you, the peoples of the nations, whatever device you people have to scatter the people of Israel among the nations, to deceive us into serving gods of other nations, to stop us, Israel, from ruling over the nations, God said, devise the plan, but it will be thwarted. For God is with us. You can say what you like. You can say these niggers will not rule over you. But it doesn't matter, for God is with us. His decision is what will stand. So pay attention to what is written, because God is with us. In the book of Zechariah, chapter 8, verse 20 to 23, it is written, "This is what Yahuwah of armies, it will yet come to pass that peoples and the inhabitants of many cities will come, and the inhabitants of one city will go to the doors of another and say, Let us go and beg for the favor of Yahuwah, and to seek Yahuwah of armies. I am going. And many peoples and mighty nations will come and seek Yahuwah of armies in Jerusalem and beg for the favor of Yahuwah. This is what Yahuwah of armies says. In those days, 10 men out of every language of the nations will take hold. They will take firm hold of the robe of a Jew, saying, We want to go with you, for we have heard that God is with you people. Yes, are you paying attention to what is written? The peoples of the nations it will yet happen that they will recognize that God is with us, that God is dealing with us. And there will those that recognize that would say they will want to go with us to worship the God of Israel, because they know God is with us. Pay attention to what is written, and do not allow yourself to be misled by your preacher man. Yahuwah will grant favor to people of other nations who humbly recognize him as the God that he is, and who support the people that he has chosen to serve him in the territory that he has given to their ancestors. But will you pay attention to what is written and not allow your preacher man to mislead you? If you pay attention, you can be among the survivors when God takes out his vengeance upon the nations, when God brings the calamity that he foretold that he's going to bring upon the nations in order to gather back, in order to repurchase back his people that he has chosen to dwell in the land that he promised to their ancestors. So pay attention to what is written, and do not be led to the slaughter. I have written many study guides to help people to really pay attention to what is written. One of them is The Road Leading Back to Zion, the homecoming of Abraham's chosen offsprings. You can find this book in Amazon stores when you search for the title, The Road Leading Back to Zion. These books will help you to pay attention to what is written. The other one is Extra Light, Extra Oil for Your Lamp as you await for your master to return. This will help you to study more details, to pay attention to what is written, because the time is almost at hand. The other one too you can find in Amazon is Follow the Light of Truth Back to Zion. Your word is truth. So pay attention to what is written, and do not allow yourself to be misled or to be led to the slaughter by your preacher man. Until I come to you next time, remain blessed and keep paying attention to the things written, because it will come at the appointed times. Thank you.